Harper Audio presents The Bling Ring, How a Gang of Fame-Obsessed Teens Ripped Off Hollywood and Shocked the World, by Nancy Jo Sales. Read by Kathleen Mary Carthy. Preface. In the spring of 2010, I got a message from someone in Sofia Coppola's office, saying that Sofia was interested in optioning my Vanity Fair story, The Suspects Wear Louboutins, which had just run in that year's Hollywood issue. I was thrilled, but also wondered what in this story could possibly appeal to Sofia Coppola. It was about a teenage burglary ring that had targeted the homes of young Hollywood between 2008 and 2009. The burglars, most of them recent high school graduates, had made off with nearly $3 million in designer clothing, jewelry, luggage, and art from a collection of stars you wouldn't exactly expect to see in a Sofia Coppola movie. Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan, or Drina Patridge, one of the girls on the reality show The Hills, to name a few. They were famous mainly for being famous, defined by a new kind of celebrity that was all about Facebooking and tweeting and the flashing of thongs. Or maybe the Instagramming of thongs. It was also a story about kids from an affluent suburb in the valley, another factor that seemed to make it an unlikely subject for Sofia. She made beautiful-looking movies about beautiful places. She'd shot much of Marie Antoinette, 2006, at Versailles, the only person ever allowed to film there. And this was a story about a tackier world, where the rich were brash and bloated on their wealth. But then, that sounded a lot like the Ancien regime before the French Revolution, and maybe the 1% in America today. But when I started rewatching some of Sofia's movies in anticipation of meeting her, I realized that the themes in the story of the Bling Ring, the name given to the burglary ring by the LA Times, were some of the same themes she had been exploring in her films. The obsession with celebrity, the entitlement of rich kids, the emptiness of fame as an aspiration or a way of life. Her first feature, The Virgin Suicides, 1999, based on the novel by Jeffrey Eugenides, was about a family of rich girls in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, who unaccountably all killed themselves, thereby becoming famous in their neighborhood. Sofia's Marie Antoinette, played by Kirsten Dunst, was a spoiled teenager and a rock star in her own time, until, of course, she lost her head. Lost in Translation, for which Sofia won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay in 2004, was a portrait of an action star, Bill Murray, drowning in a fishbowl of fame, and in Somewhere, 2010, Stephen Dorff plays another famous actor living in the legendary Chateau Marmont Hotel, and finding his existence at the center of Hollywood lonely and meaningless. So, it seemed, the story of a gang of fame-obsessed teens that had robbed the homes of celebrities was to Sofia Coppola sort of like a good horror story was to Hitchcock. It happened to be right up my alley, too. When news of the Bling Ring burglaries first came out, a friend of mine joked that it was like a Nancy Jo Sales story on speed. I suppose I knew what he meant. I'd been writing about the misadventures of rich kids since 1996, when I did a story for New York Magazine my editor headlined Prep School Gangsters. It chronicled the lives of private school students in New York as they acted out underworld fantasies based on gangster rap and too many viewings of Goodfellas. It was entirely by accident that I got on this beat, which has led me to stories on club kids and kid models and socialites and DJs and rich kids in love. At the same time, I was doing celebrity profiles on some of the very people these fame-conscious kids wanted to be. Puffy and J-Lo, and Tyra and Leo, and Jay-Z and Angelina, as well as two of the Bling Ring's famous victims, Hilton and Lohan. I did the first magazine story on Hilton for Vanity Fair in 2000. I met Sofia for the first time at a cafe in Soho, the Manhattan neighborhood where she was then living with her husband, Thomas Mars, the frontman for the alternative.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?